everybody, welcome to Lido Fine Art. I'm Emily, the Fine Art Medium, and how's it going? So, I know last week's video wasn't much of a video, but yeah, I got sick, and last week was just a clusterfuck in general. So, this month I am going to try to upload at least 3 videos a week. Just because it's spooky season. I know you got other YouTubers doing like every single day, but like I got a full-time job, and as much as I would love to do that, it is physically impossible to do it. So I am going to come at you with hopefully 3 a week. I'm hoping it's going to be difficult, okay? So bear with me. And if, I can't get there, I'm sorry. I've tried. So, yes. Now, I also wanted to remind everybody that I will be doing a giveaway once I hit 1,111 subscribers. And if you haven't seen my other videos where I mentioned this, so the giveaway is a first edition version of The Exorcist, and it is signed by Linda Blair, who played the possessed girl in the Exorcist film. So yes, I will be giving that away once we reach that, and it'll be to a random subscriber that I will, put everyone's usernames in a jumbler thing, and it'll pick one random person out. So yeah, that's what'll happen then. Now, so for this month, I don't have much of a plan of the content that I'll be, producing. I will be, however, producing more case studies. For me, that is the best way I learn. That's, I guess, the format I have been taught and have been used to just because of like college. That is what we did. And for those of you who are the type of people who need like examples and stuff to go along with what I am saying to help you remember, I feel like this will help you guys out the most. And I also want to preface this that, and I say this in a lot of my videos, the point of this channel is not to convince people about these experiences or the paranormal or anything. I'm not here to convince anybody, okay? So you can believe what you want to believe. If you want to watch this channel for, some spooky entertainment, cool. But there will be not allowed anyone to ridicule or harass me or my followers in the comment section. So if you came here to do that, get the fuck off my channel, because if you do that, I'm gonna block you. And I don't care what you have to say about it. It's okay to disagree. Fine. I have no problem with that. You know what? It's good for, constructive criticism. But do not be rude, okay? We will not take well to that. So, yeah. Just wanted to say that real quick. So yeah, if you disagree, that's cool. As long as you're, kind and whatnot in the comment section, awesome. That's fine. But if you're going to be like, you ugly, you're stupid, you're high, whatever, get off. That's all I'm going to say. But yeah. So, I am going to be coming at you with some case studies. And I also want to say this. I will put all of the sources down below, and I also want to make known that because these are case studies, I am going to pretty much read off, I have paper, like the content. And so none of this information was put into my own words because I want the person's story to get out there, or the case to get out there, how it was written, okay? And I feel like then it's not me messing with, you know, the case study here. So, like, I will read off these sources, and again, I will always, like, say where I got it from, and I'll put the links down below of where I got everything. And then I will go in there and then interject what, you know, the, whatever it is that we're learning. So, a lot of this, I'll read it off the source itself, and then I will go back in there, and I will point out, like, the 4 levels or the 4 stages of a demonic haunting, and I'll go through all of that, and I will go through and pick out other stuff. It's kind of like a reaction video, so you leave the content as is, and then you turn it into learning material. So that's what I'm doing, pretty much. And I'm gonna pretty much do a bunch of these this month. My goal is. Anyway. So yeah. With some other content topics. Not quite sure what yet. I'm pretty much, as you know, a wing it kind of person. So I'll go with the flow, and whatever I feel is important, I will just turn it into a video. So, yes. The first haunting or possession story case that I will be talking about will be Annaliese Michel. And if you don't know who she is, pretty much, if you ever watched the Exorcism of Emily Rose, I believe that's what it's called, that movie is loosely based off of this case here. So yeah, I'm going to read the content of what it is and everything, and then we're going to go through it together. So yes. First source I got from Wikipedia. Wikipedia knows what's up. I'm dead serious. They're pretty good. And the good thing about Wikipedia is they list all their sources. And so when I had teachers in school that were like, oh, you can't use Wikipedia, anybody can, you know, write what they want, which is true, but it always had the source, so you could always fact check it with the source that they provided. So yeah, we are going to be talking about Annaliese Michel, and yes, we're going to be reading off source number 1, which is Wikipedia. So, don't mind me if I'm looking up and down. I'm reading, so not much I can do. So, here we go. Annaliese Elizabeth Michel was a German woman who underwent 67 Catholic exorcism rites during the year before her death. She died of malnutrition, for which her parents and priests were convicted of negligent homicide. She was diagnosed with epileptic psychosis, or temporal lobe epilepsy, and had a history of psychiatric treatment which was overall not effective. Okay. When she was 16, she experienced a seizure and was diagnosed with psychosis caused by temporal lobe epilepsy. Shortly thereafter, she was diagnosed with depression and was treated by a psychiatric hospital. By the time she was 20, she had become intolerant of various religious objects and began to hear voices. So, yeah, red flag. Her condition worsened despite medication, and she became suicidal, also displaying other symptoms for which she took medication as well. After taking psychiatric medications for 5 years, right, failed to improve her symptoms. Okay? That's like red flag, red flag, red flag. Okay? Her and her family became convinced she was possessed by a demon. As a result, her family appealed to the Catholic Church for an exorcism. While rejected at first, 2 priests got permission from the local bishop in 1975. The priests began conducting exorcism sessions, and the parents stopped consulting doctors. Annaliese Michel stopped eating food and died due to malnourishment and dehydration after 67 sessions. Michel's parents and the 2 Roman Catholic priests were found guilty of negligent homicide and were sentenced to 6 months in jail, reduced to 3 years of probation, as well as a fine. Several films are based on her story, among them the 2000 film The Exorcism of Emily Rose. Okay, so yeah. And the award-winning 2006 film Requiem. I need to watch that. I haven't watched that one yet. As well as the 2011 film Annaliese, The Exorcist Tapes. Okay, so that's just a brief synopsis, really, of that. So let's get into the nitty-gritty here. So early life. Born as Annaliese Elizabeth Michel on the 21st of September 1952, and I'm going to say this wrong because it's German and I'm not German, so I don't have that capability of knowing how to pronounce the language. So, in Lieblifing, Bavaria, West Germany, to a Roman Catholic family. She was brought up along with 3 sisters by her parents, Joseph and Anna. She was religious and went to Mass twice a week. When she was 16, she suffered a severe convulsion and was diagnosed with temporal lobe epilepsy. In 1973, she graduated and joined the University of Würzburg. Her classmates later described her as withdrawn and very religious. Okay, so to those Catholics out there, and even Christians, who think that because they are very religious, that makes them very untouchable. Guess what? That ain't true. Okay? Like I've said in many videos, demons don't give a fuck about what religion you practice. They really don't. If anything, it actually tailors their haunting style. So if they know you're Catholic or Christian, they're going to pick out things that you would identify with your religion in order to haunt you, because it knows it will scare the shit out of you. It's the only thing that religion will do. And pretty much just say either you're crazy and just pretty much dismiss the whole thing in general. So yeah. Alright. Psychiatric treatment, which is very important, as I will get into this. So, in June 1970, she suffered a 3rd seizure at the psychiatric hospital where she had been staying. She was prescribed anti-convulsion drugs for the first time, including Dilantin, which I'm probably saying wrong too, which did not alleviate the problem. Okay, let me just do a little side thing here. So as someone who suffered from a chronic illness for pretty much my entire life, the one thing I will say that is trying to figure out a diagnosis when you don't know what's wrong, right? So I know, okay, so not being diagnosed and then having the doctors say, oh my god, you're fine and that everything's normal. It could be a red flag, yes, when you are dealing with, demonic hauntings and them, fucking with your health. Yes, that happens absolutely. However, I would not quite give up with the doctors, because sometimes you need multiple opinions to figure out what is wrong, because there are certain specialists out there that dedicate their entire practice to certain things that sometimes you just need one of them to figure out your situation, to diagnose you. So, yeah, that is very important. So, I get that they were at a point where they had to give up their doctor, going to a doctor regularly, because the issue she was having could not be explained. And I'll read further down that I believe there's somewhere in here that saying that the doctors did say that all tests and stuff came back normal, but they just slapped that diagnosis on there, even though all her tests that came back were normal. So that does happen. But in like my case, so I've gone undiagnosed I pretty much was diagnosed like 2018 or 2019, right? And I am now 28. And it is 2021. That's a really fucking long time. And I think if I was back in that time, they might say the same thing, that I was possessed by, I have a demon attachment or whatever causing my issues. Which, it's very fucking possible I had a demon that long, because I had one for a while. However, I did have tests that came back that were not normal. And so they did find a diagnosis off of, the test that they did for me anyway. But for her, the difference is this. She went through all this stuff, right? She had all her tests. And the symptom or ailment that she had been suffering is not usually one that can bypass tests like mine. Because for mine, you need a specific procedure in order to get the diagnosis, right? And so I had went years without that procedure because doctors assumed that I was too young to have my problem. But for her, the thing that she was suffering from is not something that would typically bypass tests, because, like seizures in the brain and whatnot, when you're having the seizure, obviously, you're having the seizure. But then the tests to figure out what the fuck it is, and I'm sorry my camera is not focused. There we go. So, yeah, the test to figure out what it is, the symptom and whatnot, and the illness is not something that would just, if it was a normal illness that was, temporal lobe epilepsy, they have brain scans that can see if your brain is sick. Pretty much, long story short, it can see if you're sick. So, and I know back then they didn't have so much advanced like testing and stuff, so it's possible it could slip through. But there are other issues in combination with her seizures that, again, brought in the red flags to the family. And of course the bishop, because again, the bishop in the Catholic Church, and I will remind everybody of this, that in order to get an exorcism from the Catholic Church, you must, go through several forms of testing. And you need to go through a physical one, a mental one, and whatever else, I forget. And so she did all of that. And still she was having problems, which is why they were able to get the bishop to agree to perform the exorcisms. So yeah, I just wanted to throw that out there, that sometimes that when you are being attacked by demonic entities, they can give you, illnesses, but then when your doctor, tests you for everything, it can come back normal with nothing wrong with you. That's when you gotta decide. In addition to what other things are going on in your life that say demonic haunting or earthbound spirit haunting or whatever. So you can't just assume just because you have this illness, right, and that you can't figure out what's wrong with it without any other, like, clues or signs. Because you can be like me and not figure out your diagnosis for 20-some years but you have an actual illness. A doctor just hasn't figured it out yet. So yeah, just wanted to say that real quick. So yeah, we're back on the psychiatric treatment. So yeah, she suffered a third seizure at the psychiatric hospital where she had been staying. She was prescribed anticonvulsion drugs for the first time, including Dilantin, which did not alleviate the problem. She began describing seeing devil faces, at various times of the day. That same month, she was prescribed another drug, Aolept, which is similar to chlorpromazine and is used in the treatment of various psychoses. Wow, I can't English, I'm sorry. Including schizophrenia, disturbed behavior, and delusions. By 1973, she suffered from depression and began hallucinating while praying. No shit, I'd be fucking depressed too. So yeah. And complained about hearing voices telling her that she was damned and would rot in hell, which are very specific. Her treatment in a psychiatric hospital did not improve her health, and her depression worsened. Long-term treatment did not help either, and she grew increasingly frustrated with the medical intervention. Girl, me fucking too. Taking pharmacological okay. Taking pharmaceutical drugs. That's not what that says, but I'm gonna say that. For 5 years. She became intolerant to Christian sacred places and objects such as the crucifix. Now, one thing that you can do if you're trying to test somebody who may be possessed is when you have the crucifix, don't let them see that you have the crucifix. And if you see me doing this throughout the video, it's because my camera needs to focus. Okay, so yeah, get your crucifix, don't let them know you have it, and then sneak it and just like touch it against them. And if they react, then yeah, you got a problem. If they see it and you do it, if they see it when you do it, the test is compromised, because if they have, some psychological situation going on, they could fake a possession, even if they don't realize they're faking it, if you know what like the power of suggestion, could make them react as if they were possessed. So it's always good that if you're going to use that as a test, to not let them see it. So yeah. Alright, so she went to San Damiano with a family friend who regularly organized Christian pilgrimages. Her escort concluded that she was suffering from demonic possession because she was unable to walk past a crucifix and refused to drink the water of a Christian holy spring. She was aware of the cross, so okay. And then she was unable to. So, yes, that is a sign. But I feel like that testing is compromised a bit. Alright. Annaliese told me, and Frau Hein confirmed this. I said that wrong, I know I did. That she was unable to enter the shrine. She approached it with the greatest hesitation, then said that the soil burned like fire and she simply could not stand it. She then walked around the shrine in a wide arc and tried to approach it from the back. She looked at the people who were kneeling in the area surrounding the little garden, and it seemed to her that while praying they were gnashing their teeth. She got as far as the edge of the little garden, then she had to turn back. Coming from the front again, she had to avert her glance from the picture of Christ in the chapel of the house. She made it several times to the garden, but could not get past it. She also noted that she could no longer look at medals or pictures of saints. They sparkled so immensely that she could not stand it. And that's what Father Alt said, which is very specific. So, demonic entities, obviously, they are dark entities, and when it comes to, like, light, like, the love and light that we produce, obviously, that is kind of like the kryptonite. So, that is very strange that she said that, and very specific, too. Alright, so, her and her family, as well as her community, became convinced and consulted several priests, asking for an exorcism. The priest declined, recommended the continuation of medical treatment, which is, good, and informed the family that exorcism required the bishop's permission. In the Catholic Church, official approval for an exorcism is given when person strictly meets the set criteria. Then they are considered to be suffering from possession or infestatio and under demonic control. Intense dislike for religious objects and supernatural powers are some of the first indications, as we know. Michel worsened physically and displayed aggression, self-injury, drank her own urine, and ate insects. Yeah, not good. In November 1973, Michel started her treatment with Tegretol, an anti-seizure drug and mood stabilizer. She was prescribed antipsychotic drugs during the course of the religious rites and took them frequently until sometime before her death. Despite taking these neuroleptic medications, her symptoms worsened and she began to manifest growling, seeing demons, throwing things. Yeah, yikes. However, Goodman contradicts herself, stating, Roswitha remembers that Michel often took less than 3 tablets of Tegretol a day when her prescriptions began to run low. Then would make up for it by taking more than prescribed when the prescriptions were refilled. If this is in fact the case, it could explain the decline of her behavior and mental state regardless of the anticonvulsants and the mood stabilizers. Okay, that's very important to note. Okay, exorcism. The priest, Ernst Alt, whom they met, on seeing her declared that she didn't look like an epileptic, which she doesn't or didn't, and that he did not see her having seizures. Alt believed she was suffering from demonic possession and urged the local bishop to allow an exorcism. In a letter to Alt in 1975, Michel wrote, I am nothing. Everything about me is vanity. What should I do? I have to improve. You pray for me. And also once told him, I want to suffer for other people. But this is so cruel. In September of the same year, Bishop Joseph Stengel granted the priest Arnold Rentz permission to exorcise according to the Rituale Romanum of 1614, but ordered total secrecy. Alright, Rentz performed the first session on 24th of September. She began talking increasingly about dying to atone for the wayward youth of the lady and the apostate priests of the modern church, and she refused to eat toward the end. At this point, her parents stopped consulting doctors on her request and relied solely on the exorcism rites. 67 exorcism sessions, 1 or 2 each week, lasting up to 4 hours, were performed over about 10 months in 1975 to 76. Death. On the 1st of July, 1976, she died in her home. The autopsy report states the cause of death as malnutrition and dehydration, resulting from nearly a year in a semi-starved state while the rites of exorcism were performed. She weighed 30 kilograms or 68 pounds, suffering broken knees due to continuous genuflections. She was unable to move without assistance and was reported to have contracted pneumonia. Alright, so I'm actually going to stop right here just because we're about 30 minutes in and this video is going to probably be an hour. So, stay tuned for tomorrow because I will be releasing it, part 2, and so we can finish going through this case study. So if you guys have any questions, comments, or concerns, please leave them down below. I am very, curious to what you guys have to say. And I'm going to be starting this, like now-ish. If you have your own stories, haunting stories, or experiences that you want to share, and you can be anonymous if you want, or I can read your name out, whatever you want. Message me on Instagram, which I always have that linked somewhere, and we'll figure it out. We'll get your story heard. You are not alone in this. There are other people in this community that, understand what you're going through. We are here for you, and you're not alone. So, yeah, I will be making that available. I am working on a website that'll have all my art stuff. So if you're interested in buying any of that, I'll have all my paranormal stuff if you're interested in any, sessions. And same with art, if there's anything, commissions you want. I'm going to have everything all on one website once I get that shit figured out. It's going to take a bit. And I'll have, write-ins where you write in your experiences that you want to share. I will have that as an option on my website. But for right now, it's going to be on Instagram. Just message me there. If you want to, say your story anonymously or not anonymously, you have both options. And I have a bunch of everything on my Patreon. If you want to support, it's only $1 to support. And you have access to everything I post. So that includes art, videos, and I will be posting videos on there as soon as I'm done making them, so you don't have to wait the week in advance or 2 weeks. And I'm trying to get better with the amount of videos I post ahead of time on there first before I do it and release it on my YouTube. So you guys will have, you'll have the access over everybody to watch everything as soon as I post it, and I'll be posting it immediately after I'm done with it. So yeah, and of course my art stuff like wallpapers, commissions if you want, merch, tarot card readings. There's a bunch of shit. So if you want to support, it's only $1 to start. And then depending on whatever tiers you want, it goes up from there. But basic support is $1 and you pretty much have access to everything. So with that said, thank you guys for watching. And I will see you soon. So peace out.